YouTube. So recently I went to a photography shoot doing some portraits on film, and once I got the film back from the lab, I'm looking at the negatives and look at the scans that they had did for me, and I'm like, dang, I should have did this differently. I wish I had placed the subject like this. And I was like, I could have used these tips before I took these pictures. So that's how I came up with the idea for this video: 5 tips for shooting portraits on film. Alright, let's get into it. Alright, tip number 1. Compose then shoot. So typically when I'm shooting digital, I take a whole bunch of test shots to see what's working, what I need to improve on, and then like I adapt from there. I switch it up, whatever. But with film, what I'm learning is that first I have to compose my image before I even put the camera up to my face. So in composing that image, what I mean is figuring out how I want to place the subject either against the background or in the scene, figuring out the pose, the angles, and all of that. Once I figure all of that out, that's when I'll start bringing the camera to my face and then framing the shot in my viewfinder. Alright, tip number 2. Trust your eyes. And this tip actually feeds 100% from that first tip. Compose then shoot. And so once you compose in the shot, you know the shot is dope. You got it all together. You about to shoot the shot. It's all about trusting your eyes. You know what you see through the viewfinder and with your own eyes outside of the viewfinder. So trust your eyes to take the shot. Tip number 3. Use the sun as your key light. This tip really could have benefited me for this previous shoot that I did that we're talking about for this video. So in some of the photos, the sun looked magnificent in the shot. But then other ones, I can tell that the sun I didn't use the sun as I should have. I didn't even consider the sun. I literally just saw the shot I wanted to take and I took it. For example, for this shot, you can see the sun is literally cutting through the gate a little bit. Cause you see the difference in the lighting. And then in this shot, it was just severely underexposed. Well, I guess it wasn't severely underexposed, but it was underexposed to a point that I converted them to a different. I converted them to a different black and white type thing. Tip number 4, check the camera settings. So when shooting film, there's only 2 camera settings I really change or even worry about, and that's the f-stop and the shutter speed. So when I first start my shoot, I usually start at my base f-stop and my base shutter speed. Usually about 2.8 when I'm doing portraits, and then 160 if it's in stable conditions, or I might modify that depending on the conditions of the environment, of course. The reason why I say check the camera settings, one of the tips that I always just have in my back pocket, is for the simple fact of when the scene changes, I should most likely look into see, maybe I should put this shutter speed up a little bit or down a little bit, or maybe this f-stop a little bit too creamy, too shallow depth of field for this scene. Maybe I need to modify that a little bit. So just check the camera settings, make sure the camera settings that I'm using that I started off with still makes sense for that that scene that I'm in right then in that moment. Tip number 5, experiment. So sometimes when I'm shooting film, I'm so worried about making sure every frame is worth it, or making sure every roll I have so many shots I know I'm gonna get out of it, or I'm being too not even precise. I'm just being too nitpicky about certain things that I forget to have fun with the experiment and try something new. And so that experiment can be anything from trying colored camera lenses. I have a bunch of those that I've been playing around with, switching up the angle, switching up the orientation, posing the model in a way I usually wouldn't pose them, maybe putting my shutter speed super fast, having the model run around or something. Experiment, have fun with it. So that's my last step for shooting portraits.
I never switch on the team, I never forgot a dream. I'm never breaking a promise, I know this not as it seems. I know I gotta work harder, I'm trying to break on a ring. I know I gotta go farther, like it's something that I gotta redeem. Got him jumping out the gym, jumping out the gym. Got him jumping out the gym, jumping out the gym. Got him jumping out the gym, jumping out the gym. You know how I rock when I'm at the rim.